Welcome to the Audiobook Lovin Podcast, discussing all things audiobooks, the narrators that perform them, and the authors that write the stories. Including a special series with Narrator Shane East, the Audiobook Lovin Podcast is brought to you by Viviana, Enchantress of Books. Hi everyone, welcome to episode 7 of the Audiobook Lovin Podcast. Today, Shane and I are catching up, talking shop, which basically means audiobooks, the upcoming holidays, new and upcoming releases, and of course, a fun round of this and that. Sounds about right, Shane?
Yep, that sounds great to me.
Awesome. So how have you been doing?
I'm very well, thanks. Been very busy.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm just sort of winding down a little bit, even though Thanksgiving really isn't my holiday per se. I just take it as an opportunity to stuff my face and just not really do much. Which is lovely. It's like a second Christmas. It's like a first Christmas before the Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
So I've very much got used to it now. Because back home there's nothing in November other than Guy Fawkes Night, which is the 5th, which is like all fireworks and stuff. There's bugger all, and you're just desperately holding on through the cold until Christmas. But here it's lovely. You get like a first stab at it.
Yeah, you would think, but the way that the stores are going and having all the holiday, like Christmas stuff out in, I don't know, August, kind of makes you go, can we just celebrate Thanksgiving first before we put up the tree?
Yeah,
it tends to, unfortunately, people tend to kind of skip over it, it seems.
skip over Thanksgiving?
Yeah, like as far as like the tradition of, taking the day off, doing the cooking, and just, putting the fall decorations up, maybe, if people do that or not.
Fall
Like
decorations?
Yes.
What's that?
Fall. Like the
Or like
leaves that are,
pumpkins and squashes and like
yes.
things like that? Oh, that's...
Yeah, I'll have to show you a photo of the mantle so you can see what I'm talking about.
I mean, I guess I've seen stuff like that, maybe. I don't know. It hasn't really struck me. I go straight for the Christmas decorations. Yeah, we definitely don't have autumn decorations back home. People think you're nuts.
Oh, we decorate for Halloween, and so some of that stuff is already out, and then we have a short period where we have Thanksgiving, so some of that stuff, the eerie, gaugy stuff gets out, and then the rest stays in the house. And then comes Friday, the day after Thanksgiving, the Christmas boxes explode, and I start putting all the stuff up, and including the tree. So
yeah, because that's the legit. You can, because back home we never used to put Christmas decorations up so early. There's like, I don't know what the rules are, but definitely you only the, I don't know, I wouldn't say crazies, but that was the insinuation.
enthusiasm.
Yeah, from my
Enthusiastic
mother.
ones.
Yeah, my very British mother. It's like, good grief, it's a bit early for all of that nonsense, isn't it? I mean, although she does like Christmas, but to put them up at the end of November back home would be only for like the real Christmas freaks. But I here it seems quite okay to do it like around, which is great because I bloody love Christmas decorations. I think it's really nice. So I may well do that on Friday myself. I may just fall from the attic and get everything.
Yeah.
But other than that, everything's good. Yes, as you know, I just came back from the dentist. I'm sure people will be riveted to hear that I still have no fillings.
What?
No,
That's
no,
good, right?
I know. I'm quite impressed. I know, especially because my friends like to take the piss and say about English people and their teeth.
True, that's right. They do.
Yes,
So
so
you're all good though. So
I've bucked a trend, obviously. Yeah, it's good. And yeah, it's just a funny. I had a few. I was going to mention that, not because of Thanksgiving, but every now and then I have real moments of realizing, even though I've been here 10 years, that I'm not in. What's that Wizard of Oz thing? We're not in Kansas anymore. Is that the
yes,
famous one?
that's it.
Yeah, like the British equivalent of that. Like I'm not in England anymore. Which you'd think I kind of wouldn't have those moments anymore, but I still do. There was just funny one this morning, sort of a gym, and this girl came out of a class, and to her other friends, she was like, "I fucking love that." The teacher, I fucking love that teacher. She's so great. I fucking love her. I love her class. It's the best thing ever. And I was like, Wow. I was like, okay, cool. I was like, I get it. But I just reminded me, I thought back home, someone might come out and the equivalent would just be, well, that was nice. I enjoyed that. It's good. I'm sure I'll come back again. Every
Yeah.
now and then I have these epiphanies of like, wow, really different way of being.
It-
So that was
it-
one.
yeah, how we express ourselves, and but even within the states, it happens a difference if you're East
Mm.
Coast versus West Coast.
I'm
Like
sure
the
that's a
Valley.
very West Coast
Yes, that is a
behavior.
very West Coast, especially if you are your accuracy of her accent being Valley-ish.
Oh, I mean, don't never take it when I'm off of the clock, so
Uh-huh.
to speak. Don't never take my accents
No, no.
verbatim. I did a terrible one the other day for
Yeah.
somebody. I can't remember. I was doing a terrible American one. But yes, she did sound very LA to me.
LA, yes, yeah. So we tend to say like Valley girl, but we really mean California, accent.
Well, Valley
So
Girl's a little derogatory, isn't it? Isn't
it,
that
it
expression?
can be, but I mean, there's a whole
It can be.
well, because there's a whole entire series, book series of teenagers like YA. It's something to do with Valley High, I think, and it was in California and stuff like that. So again, it depends on kind of how you use it, but we definitely have that whole like, oh my god, everything's like so cool, and I'm such a blonde, like that. When you think
Yes.
of Valley Girl, unfortunately. So I
Like
myself
Romeo and
tried to.
Michelle, isn't there that movie?
Perfect. Yes, exactly.
Yeah, that's what, when you said that, that's what came to mind.
Hmm.
I get it.
Yeah. Whereas here on the East Coast, I would probably be like, oh my god, that fucking hurts. Do I have to come back to the gym tomorrow?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's interesting, very interesting. It's like, and it's the use of the word love. I was listening to a podcast today while I was running around town, and yeah, the use of the word love in the States is quite. It's peppered around a lot more. I think British people, for example, my brother still doesn't say um, "I love you" or anything like that. He'll say "love from all." Like that's as
Oh,
far as he goes. Um, and it's interesting. And I have on this podcast, I was saying that at the end, it's like, oh, thanks for being here, blah, blah, blah. Love you guys. And I was like, that's so interesting. Sometimes just the use of that word, like, it's just very, I think we have a very sort of, we reserve it often too much, I would say.
yeah. And I think on the opposite spectrum, sometimes we give it away too freely.
Yeah, I think it has a different meaning here. I have a friend of ours in our group. There's sort of 12 of us, I'd say, core group. And then she said, I laugh at her because she's like, okay, love you. Like if she's leaving, she will literally say, hug people and say, I love you. Okay, bye, love you, love you, love you. And I'm like, you've told me you love me 3 times. It's very strange for me as a British person to hear
Hmm.
this.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, she's that, and then of course I get the piss taken out of me because I'm the cold British person. But yeah, anyway, it's just those two things there. I was like, oh yeah, it's very. I'm in America today.
Yeah. I've tried to have the whole thing where like when people say, oh my God, I love that song, or oh my God, that, I love that food, where I say, well, no, you love me, or you love your significant other, your family. You like that a lot.
Oh, you
Um,
want to be a purist?
well, I think it's because when you're throwing it around that way, it kind of diminishes the value to some extent. I am the like similar to your friend where, especially with the close group of friends, I will say, okay, love you, bye. Because sometimes you just don't know what happens next. And so I want to make sure for me that you guys know that, that they're loved and stuff. But other people show their emotions and love in different ways. My twin sister, I say she's emotionally cold, and she says of me that I'm emotionally needy. Um,
Oh, let's go. I mean, let's get deep. I didn't realize we were going to go into
no,
familial feuds, but let's.
yeah, but just because of how we show our affections and our emotions, she's one that I go, love you, bye. And she goes,
Mm,
but she'll buy me something. So it's like the different love languages. It's
yes.
how she shows her love for me, or when she'll make me something she thinks I like and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
yeah, so that,
Totally.
but
Totally.
yeah, we
Yeah.
throw it around.
Yeah. I mean, I never want to generalize, but definitely there are just definite cultural differences that
Hmm.
yeah, and that's what just every now and then it takes me by surprise that I notice it, and it might not happen for like a long, long time. And then, like,
Mhm.
I think it was at a bar the other week, and I laughed at my friend. I was like, "Oh, I had one of those moments," because the barman said something like, you know, "Yeah, sure, that's dope," or something, and I was like, "Oh." That's so weird for me because I don't hear
And
that.
so
That
1990s.
Right, probably. Yeah, I felt. That's why I said to my friend. I said, I feel like I'm in a movie. I feel like I'm in like
Mhm.
Wayne's World, or like some American thing that I grew up with watching. Fascinated by Hollywood movies because we love them.
Mhm.
And yeah, and every now and then I feel like I'm back in my teen years or something in some sort of movie that I've watched. So yeah, it has its moments. So
Well,
that's what's going on in my life.
yeah. Well, again, it's been 10 years, and people sometimes think that that's a long time, and it can be, but you were also born and raised abroad. And so having to figure some of this stuff out. And we also, a lot of people tend to generalize that British individuals are very cold, as you were saying, and are push and don't show their emotions at all. And then sometimes we get them, we're going, dude, you feeling okay? Because,
We,
yeah, it's amazing how we generalize, like going, okay, so.
we don't. Yeah, as a general, yeah, I'd say British
Mhm.
people are a little bit more reserved with things, and we don't sort of rush in with commentary. I do it sometimes. I have to, you know, say to friends because for example, they maybe have done something, and I'll take time looking at it and taking it in,
Mhm.
which might sort of seem as if there's maybe some consternation or as if I'm like unsure about what I'm looking at. Say they've decorated their house or something.
Mm.
Whereas my American friends are much more like, "Oh my God, this is I love it," and I'm very much like, "Oh yeah, oh I like that. That's
Mhm.
nice." And I just think there's something that's how that's how I am. That's how we were
Yeah.
raised a little bit. So yes, there are definite sort of generalities sometimes, but I'm still very British in lots of ways.
Yeah.
Um,
It's just one of those things where I probably would be concerned, not so much that you didn't notice that and say how awesome the house looked, but because of the reservedness, if I said something and the reaction wasn't what I thought it would be, I'd be like, damn it, did I piss him off? Is he mad at me? Oh my God. And
oh,
then as a Pisces, I would be like even more worse than that. So going, what did I do? So
so you take it on yourself. That's
yes, yes, yes.
interesting. I
Mhm.
don't. I mean, I used to get that at drama school. I'd be concentrating on what they're saying, the teacher, and like trying to process it. And then they would say, "Are you okay?"
Mhm.
I'd be like, "Yes, yes," because it would look as if I was either just judging what they were saying or not very impressed with what they were saying.
Mhm.
When actually I was just trying to think it through. But so that's just my face.
Yeah. Which again, people get to know you better, and they realize that they're still friends sometimes that they're that quiet and stuff. And I'm like, you okay? And they're like, yeah,
Mm,
yeah, just thinking. I'm like, okay, that's your thinking face. Got it. I should have realized there's smoke
yeah,
coming out of your ears. Um,
my
so
thinking frown.
yes, yes, yeah. Um, you recently were at an awards
Mm,
event. So I want to say congratulations for the nomination of the SOVAS, which is the Society of Voice Arts and Science Awards. And you guys were nominated for romance of, or was it romance or erotica? Best
yes.
voiceover for Intention by Ava Harrison and co-narrated by Andy Ernst. So you guys were all there. That was so awesome.
Yeah, we all. That's the only reason I went. I don't often go to those things, um, but yeah, because Ava was coming. Because she lives in sort of middle of the country,
Hmm.
and Lauren Blakely came down from
Hmm.
north in
Yeah, she was all
California.
excited.
She's always excited. I said to her when I met her, I was like, "You're exact." I hadn't met her in person. I'd emailed a lot and spoken
Hmm.
over the phone, and I said to her within a minute, I said, "You're exactly as I thought you would be. Like
Hmm.
your emails are very excited." And when I spoke to her on the phone before, she's like very excited. She's a firecracker. She's just like,
Yeah, she's very passionate. I love that about her. She gets excited about what she's doing. So then when I talk to her, it's not like, yeah, I got this audio audition and it was okay. No, she's like, oh my God, I got this audio audition. I need it. I'm going, okay, great. Yeah, sure.
yeah, she lives her life in a very excited state, and I think that's
Hmm.
great.
It is, yeah.
And yeah, and Ava's so lovely. She's very sweet because I've met her before at Rare, obviously, and then so that was kind of why it was going in. Andy flew in. There was some others there as well. Ava, Eric. I get all the Avas mixed up because there's a lot.
Era Lucas. I think
Ava Lucas was there. Ava
Erica.
Erickson was
Yeah.
there. Lucy Rivers was there.
Megan Tucci was there. Let's see.
And then there was
Emma Wilder.
Yes, she was there. I also have to remember which some of them are under pseudonyms, some are not.
That's what I was just thinking.
So I'm like, who was that one? I can't remember. So yeah, there's a lot of people there. So it was, we had a great time from that perspective, that we just all got together, had a good laugh, had some drinks before and after, and then just hung out really, because it was on the Warner Brothers lot. So it's like the New York lot that you've all seen in sort of movies, and I think Sex and the City and stuff like that. They filmed it there.
It was a little eerie too, because when I was seeing the photos and I'm going, hey, that kind of looks like the street at Hollywood Studios here in Disney. Because we have at the Hollywood Studios theme park, we have that alleyway that you guys have there at the lot at the park, so you see the photos and stuff. I'm going, hey, they weren't lying. It is the same thing. Cool.
Yeah, it's a pretty good place to have a little outdoor. Well, in California anyway, because the weather's still good in October, November. So it was all outside. The ceremony was inside this sort of theater that they have right there as well. So it was good. I mean, award things per se, I'm not. I mean, they're nice, and I think it's nice to value people, but there's also a lot of they're very subjective. I feel it's the same with I watch Oscars and stuff. It's like I feel sometimes it's hard to say, well, my opinion on that person, or how do we decide that person was so much better than this person, or whatever. So I find the whole concept of them interesting, but it's nice because it's a get together. Also points people in the direction of things as well. I know people seeing that we were nominated and stuff, I'm sure looked up the book and have fallen in love with it. So that's nice. So
I like the fact that there's just more. It seems like there's more and more and more things happening within the audiobook community for the audiobooks and the narrators and the authors. Because we have so many awards for the written books, but not so much for the audio version of it. And now they're having, I know this one has been going on for like 6 years, but it seems like the attention's on it a little more. The people are talking about it. There's a hashtag for it again, and more people are sharing it. So that was what I liked about that perspective, that they're showcasing.
I definitely agreeing, because I think people do deserve kudos, because it is it's a lot of effort that goes in to all sorts of voiceover work, I guess, but we're particularly focused on audiobooks, and it is nice for people to sort of get the recognition and for the attention, for the amount of effort they put in. And also I think it's nice in the romance genre, because a lot of those like Ava and Lauren and others, it's sort of they put so much effort in, they market it themselves often, they're self-publishing because they want to, but there's also so much that goes along with doing that, and so I think it's really well deserved. Like Lauren and I had a chat about that to get that recognition, because those authors are doing all of those things by themselves, and not just sort of handing it to a publisher who takes care of bits and pieces. So I say kudos on that respect too.
Oh yeah, for sure. No, it's great to see them, the authors, now kind of again realizing that there's value in having their books done in audio, and having them just try it out and either hiring someone to do the producing and the casting, or doing on their own. Like Lauren does it on her own now. She is such a pro at it, and at the same time I think she is leading a lot of different ways to do audiobooks lately. In audiobooks, I'm seeing more trends based on what I've known she's done first, so that's been kind of cool too. So
I'd definitely say she's a trendsetter in that respect. But audio just keeps growing and growing anyway, which everyone knows. So I feel more and more people are getting on the train. But it's always interesting. There's always sort of early adopters. I mean, I feel like I don't really know Lauren's history that much, but I feel like she's one of those that's kind of more on the forefront. And authors that we work for tend to be that. But and then I'll get inquiries sometimes from people that are just like they've got a back catalogue of things and they're just sort of starting to feel it out, which I always find surprising, because I think, if you've got a fan base and you've got, you should look at the numbers. Like there's just such a big market for your stuff. You'll have to put the work in as well, like market stuff and get it out there. But the success stories that I hear from people that I work with that have just kind of started to do their stuff into audio or put it into audio, they're thrilled. So yeah. So if you're listening and you have a good back catalog, get on it. That's my advice.
Oh yeah, there has been many a times that I have discovered a new author because of the audiobook, because of who the narrator was, or because someone was talking about how awesome the audiobook was. And that's including of newer narrators, so not just the ones that I'm constantly listening to, Shane, and things like that. So that's the other side. Of the flip side is that you're going to get a bigger audience and potentially grow that exponentially as the more formats that you have. So
yeah, I mean, it works for us narrators too. I have people who start with me with romance and then figure out my other stuff and sort of slip across now, and will pick up stuff because of that, because they love the romance stuff. But of course, we're not just obsessed with romance, or they're not. So yeah, it works all different ways. But yeah, I mean, good for us as well.
Yeah,
I feel like I'm lucky. I feel like I got in at the right time when I started doing this. I sort of started it at the cusp, I feel, of people realizing that, like more and more people are listening to audio, and it's not just sort of books for the blind, which it used to be.
Yes. Yeah.
Or maybe the odd commuter, who has to drive a lot. It's now literally everybody, and our phones have turned into this. I mean, I found a dictaphone today. I'm clearing out my office. I found a dictaphone, and I was like, how fucking old is that? That's like a relic.
So what? Sorry about that.
No.
What's a dictaphone?
Oh, I wondered. You were very silent. I thought,
is
this some
did
sort
he
of
just
lost
say
in
dick phone? What was that?
I found a dick phone. They were all the rage in the 2000s. No, it's a dictaphone. It's the thing that you used before we all had phones. We're going way back. I don't even know why I have it here in this country. But I guess I used to use it for something. But you put a cassette tape in, and you record, and then you would record your speaking or whatever it was.
A cassette player?
No, it's called a dictaphone. If anyone's, can someone just get a dictionary out? There must be an American translation.
Or like a Walkman. So it opens up and you put a cassette in it, and then you can either record or listen, right?
Yeah, it looks like a Walkman. But yeah, I mean, I think probably if you go back to some old movies, they would have put a dictaphone out, like in the middle, in an interview situation.
Oh, yeah. Those little cute ones. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, the size has to be the size of a cassette. A cassette. That's basically it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that just, like I'm saying, I just relate that to the fact because it's sitting right here at my feet, and I've got to, recycle it or something. But before our phones became the hub of our lives, and the fact that we can record on that, or like this with audiobooks, where it's sort of, we can listen to an audiobook anywhere. It's fucking great. So yes. Anyway, so that's that.
Before you sell that or get rid of it to donate, just check out what the value is. It's considered an antique or vintage, and there's a lot of that stuff is coming back. Like the cassette players and the Walkmans are starting to kind of come back, and with the millennials and the younger folks.
Yeah, people like vinyl. I have a friend who had a vinyl. She got herself a vinyl player because it's all very, very. I was like, that's what my parents had. They had Motown records and things.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll have a look. Maybe, who knows? Maybe I can get some Christmas money for my vintage dictaphone, not dictaphone, phone. 3 syllables.
Dictaphone. Got it. Sorry, that's gonna be funny for a while.
You must have a word for it.
We do, we do. I'm trying to think about it because we call them recorders.
Oh, is it one of those where we have a weird name for it, and over here it's just sort of said like what it is?
Yeah, I think it might be because I remember.
It comes up on the dictionary, by the way. I'm looking on my computer, and it says.
Of course you are.
This is my life. This is what I do all the time. It's like if I don't understand a word,
research, yeah.
I have to look it up. If I think it's a British word as opposed to American, I look it up sometimes. Anyway, so yeah, that's it. We digress.
Okay.
Dictaphones.
Yes, dictaphones. Got it. So you mentioned that like Christmas is you really into it and stuff. So that is your favorite holiday. I think I recall you sharing, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
I guess. Well, what are the options really? Like Christmas. I mean, I love a summer holiday, but like for the holidays.
Yeah. Well, people tend to be either a Halloween or a Christmas person. You know, they tend to.
Like, those are two extremes.
Yes, they are. And then you get the mix where you put some of the Halloween stuff into the Christmas. So like like the Nightmare Before Christmas, or
oh yeah,
they'll get a little bit more like the ghost Christmas tree where they just get a white tree and put some eyes on it. It's stuff like that. So
yeah, I like Christmas decorations. I always have since I can remember. And we used to do quite a lot of them. It just made the house, well, especially because growing up in London, in England, it was so grey. Like we didn't get snow very often, like maybe once every so many years we'd get some, and that looked kind of Christmassy and cute. But in general, we didn't. And so we just kind of had a grey, overcast, cold, quite a bit of rain, or, like that fine rain that you just kind of come home freezing cold and damp. So to come home to Christmas decorations and everything just feeling very cozy, I just have a lot of fond memories of all of that. So I think that's a big factor for me.
Yeah.
Like it's cold today here in Los Angeles, and
you've been in the States way too long. So I'm going to check in on this. What is your definition of cold?
It's fucking cold. It's cold. Like I don't know what the temperature is, but it's definitely chilly out there. Like I had to wear I was on my Vespa, so I had to wear a jumper, two coats, and I had jeans on and boots, and I felt it through the jeans. So I was like, okay, it's pretty nippy. But yes, of course, if you're going to compare us to, I don't know, like Michigan or something, it's
correct.
Probably.
Yes.
It's probably tropical here.
Yeah. So according to Google, taking a page from Shane's book, it says that it's 53 degrees Celsius.
Yeah, that's cold, right?
No.
What is that? What is that in Celsius? Because I get.
Let me see. It's a high 12 degrees Celsius.
Fuck yeah, that's cold.
You've been in LA too much, too long.
I mean, yeah, probably back home it wouldn't be so bad, but yeah, I guess I feel like it's definitely chilly. More so on the bike, I will say. I will preface.
Yes, I mean, yeah.
The
if
wind,
you ride a bike,
that chill factor, it's like, ooh, that's pretty nippy. But yeah, when I got off, it wasn't so bad. But then I was cold from being the wind on the bike. Anyway. But so I do love the contrast. I like it when it's cold and I can come home and be cozy, and I have a fireplace in my house, so I can put that on, and Christmas decorations. And I just like Christmas. I like the whole vibe. Everyone's just take out the shopping and all of that, like the commercial aspect of it. The getting together with people. I always love like Christmas drinks. I like the white elephant things that we do, or the secret Santas. People have different names for it, it seems.
Yes, with different versions too, because you can do the Secret Santa and have nice gifts, or you can do the elephant and have interesting gifts.
Oh, yeah. Well, my mate's doing it this year, and he's put a limit of $50. I was going to say quid, but $50. Which I was like, okay, cool. I was like, but everyone better do something close to that, because I'm not getting some make your own Santa costume from this Target book. I mean, it makes me sound like I'm. But I was like, as long as we're all on the same page, and some poor bugger doesn't pick up some white elephant that's like that, like a coloring book, because someone had no time and got it from the corner store, and then someone else gets like an Echo Dot or something. I'd be like, I'd be a fucking shitter. So anyway, Yeah, but I just love all of those things that
Hmm.
happen, and yeah, everyone, and I like Christmas music. I sound so stupid.
No, I mean I love it. It's different.
Really?
And I think that again, so temperature wise, here in Orlando, I'm at 66 degrees Fahrenheit, and Celsius, that's 19 degrees.
That's warm.
And yes, so but people are going, oh my God, it's so fucking cold.
Mm,
And they're wearing their parkas and stuff. And so it's like when you posted that picture about the sunny LA, that you're saying you had a nice cold night,
mm,
and so you did soup and stuff, and then the next day, bam, it was
mm.
like warm, and you had that one day of winter.
Yeah.
Here in Florida, we have there's a meme and it's pretty accurate. It's like, welcome to Florida. Winter is at 6 a.m. Spring starts about 10 a.m. Summer's at 2, and fall starts around 4:30ish p.m. and then dress accordingly. So
But that's why all the mature ladies and gentlemen move to Florida, right? They
yes.
don't have to deal with cold and rheumatism and things like that.
Yes,
That's
for
what I've
certain
heard.
city. Yes, that's what you heard. But yeah, but I mean, Christmas is awesome. I love it. The house gets nicely decorated. The Christmas songs starts getting played. Um,
Yeah,
Cookies start getting getting baked, and then the Christmas list of gifts starts figuring out of who gets what and where, and
that's my least favorite bit. I don't like
yeah,
the whole figuring. I don't like to stress about who wants what and who like. I like, but think I've got a system with my family anyway, where it's sort of we tell each other what so and so would like.
mm,
So so that person kind of gets a surprise, but like because my sister-in-law, I have to ask. I was like, I don't
hmm,
know, like I have to ask my brother, although he's a bit useless. So actually, my parent, he is a bit fucking useless. It's my parents that were like, actually, you should probably get this, Steve. I know she'd like this. She's talked about this at some point in the year. So I was like, oh, okay. So we all kind of do that around each other, and then that way we kind of figure out. Although my mum gets very stressed and just asks me, "What do you want?" Because
you're like, hold on, mom, let me get my list. Boom. Um,
yeah, she gets very stressed out about it if she's not sure, and so she'll just be like, "What do you want? Just tell me. I just need to get you something. I don't know what to do." But yeah, no, I like all the decorations, all the lights, all the coziness. I think it's just the coziness and getting together with people. I guess I'm
yeah.
quite social, and spending my life in a box by myself probably makes it even more. I relish those times when it's about getting together and just having a laugh.
Yeah, it's important to be able to hang out with people that you actually like and
Oh
want in your
God,
life.
sorry. It sounds like you spend half your life with people you can't bear.
Oh, let's
You
see.
don't have to say, because someone's going to hear this. Like, what? I thought we were friends. Uh,
Well, that's with me. I mean, I wear my emotions on my face. You will know if I like you or not.
uh,
I don't believe in bullshitting. Um, and if things can be worked out, great. If not, get the fuck away. But it's just a lot of times you have to do those. Everything's okay because like the day job, or you're
sure.
going to events, and that person that you don't like is going to be there too, and you're like, hi, go away.
Yeah.
um mhm. And for an introvert, it can be more difficult when there are bigger groups and stuff like that. That's why I rather have everybody chill at a house and comfy clothes and cozy and shoot the shit. So
Uh,
mhm.
yeah, I guess I don't have that uh, what's the word? Constraint, I guess, in terms of
Mhm.
people. I don't have to interact with anyone really. I could be a hermit. I could be up a mountain just working away and just by myself. So yeah, I don't have to go to an office and sort of deal
Mhm.
with Ted and Fred and Betty who drive me crazy.
Mhm.
So yeah, I forget that there is that for sure.
Some of us have
Yeah,
jobs
most people have to go somewhere and work amongst
somewhere.
other people.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess I'm lucky in that respect.
Mhm. But yeah, it works out. Um, from a gift perspective, it might be interesting for your family because you travel over there for the holidays, right?
Not every year, but I am going this year. Yeah, I am going to go this year. So even though I was just back, I'm going to go back again. So spend some time with mum and dad this year.
That's cool.
Just doing not very much.
That sounds lovely.
It should be. I'm sure I'll be reading some stuff, but yeah, I mean, they live in several hours outside of London now, so in a sort of small town. It's got a bit of a villagey vibe, I guess.
That sounds so nice.
I know, I'm sure it sounds very romantic, but
no, I'm just quiet.
yes,
Yeah,
it is. It's kind of a little town. It's a little suburban-y. It's kind of a mixture, but it's kind of more in the countryside than London, obviously. So yeah, but there's bugger all going on. So I'll just kind of hang out with them and potter around the house or just be lazy. So yeah, it'd be quite nice, I think.
Oh yeah, that sounds great. I think sometimes we're going so fast, and if we live in the city like you and I do, kind of, it's one of those, everything's always something's going. You got to go do this, you got to do that. Whereas I probably would take a day or two to get used to the quietness of a town like that and be okay with not doing anything.
Yeah. I think so. I mean, yeah, I have to say it's been quite a few years since I've been there because we always meet in London, which is where my brother still lives. So yeah, I'll have to see. And then my nan's up there, and she's 98, so I'll pop in and say hi to her too. So yeah, we'll see. Yeah, it will be very quiet. But I like Christmas TV. I like TV in England actually. We just have an obsession with house programs and things, and there's something very reassuring about going home and watching it. All of these, I don't know, like house renovation programs and stuff.
Oh, okay.
We're obsessed. Like,
really?
Yeah, I mean, I know here we have HGTV and stuff, but yeah, when I was growing up, it was always been home ownership in the UK has just been an obsession for everybody. So anyway, so some of those programs have been going forever, and I don't know, it's just sort of a reminder of it's nostalgic, I guess. So I like watching that, and I like watching Christmas movies and things. Not
the Hallmark Christmas movie.
I think I mentioned that on podcasting the other week. I was like,
yeah,
that's so bad. Which I shouldn't say because I know somebody who casts some of those. So no offense, but yeah, I can't watch them. But I don't know, like other more festive sort of regular movies.
Yeah, there's some really good ones out there from non-Hallmarky, and sometimes just the Hallmarks. They've gotten a little better, and sometimes they've gotten a lot worse. So it's just one of those, like, you have to figure out which one it's going to be. But it also helps with the mood of getting more into the holidays a bit. So I know in my house we're like, oh yeah, in my house, like, oh, there she goes again with the Hallmark movies.
Well, I mean, they are very much geared to a female audience.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I mean, I'm sure there are blokes that like them, but I think from seeing them, yeah, they're very. There's a formula, and it's all, and nothing bad's ever going to happen to anybody really. Like everyone's going to be nice, and it's all going to be all right in the end, which is probably nice in this very turbulent world that people live in nowadays.
That's true too. It's always funny too, because it's one of those, like, it's snowing outside and the two of them are walking, and all of a sudden, oops, she slips, and he goes to catch her, and they fall, and they start laughing, and that's when they fall in love.
I mean, that's how it happens every day.
Exactly. I mean, like, totally. I was like, yeah. What happens to people that don't have snow?
They just fall in the mud.
Oh God.
And that chick from that girl from the Wonder Years, because I grew up with that program. I was obsessed with it. I was literally, that was my teenage years, was the Wonder Years. The girl Winnie. I know Winnie. She's in a lot of those movies.
Yeah.
Because I saw her interview. These random things pop up, like I'll be at the gym and it pops up on TV, and she was being interviewed, and because of Christmas is coming, I was like, oh, that's her from the Wonder Years.
Yes.
Anyway, so she's in a lot of them.
Yeah, a lot of the actors, like from some of the girls from like the Full House, have done some of those. There are some movies that they're starting to kind of branch out, but part of it is also branding from that wholesome appeal that Hallmark has. Yeah, because they fade to black. They don't do romance like we do romance. Yeah, so it's just no. No.
No, it wouldn't. No, the books we do wouldn't be on Hallmark.
No, they go to passion flicks.
Yeah.
Yeah. For sure. So cool. So that's what you're doing for the rest of, yeah. God, we're already almost in December.
Yeah.
Fucker. And
I
then that's
know.
it. We're done for the year.
Yeah. It's game
Yeah.
over. It's 2020.
Yeah. Are you a resolutions kind of a guy?
Not really.
Okay.
No, I used to be, and then I think grew out of it, and I was just like, well, if I decide to do something, then I could decide that at any time in the year. I mean, I guess I might sort of look at my mindset or look at how the year's been, and sort of think through like what it's a good time. It's a good time to be reflective, and then maybe I want more of that, or I'm going to move in that direction more and stuff, but more of a general sort of idea going into the year is what I would say is my mindset, not I will not do this or I will do that and da da da. I don't do that so much.
No, yeah, they're hard to sometimes maintain. I've found some old, journals and stuff, and I was looking at them and included some of those New Year's resolution. I'm going, ha, dumbass. 15 years ago, going, yeah, no, not work out for you. So
if you find anything from like 15, 20 years ago, there's always like, oh my God, what was I thinking? What did I look like?
So I think my process thinking is more about, like you say, reflecting, okay, what worked, what didn't work this year, what would I want more of next year, and be more, more kind, and what to be more positive kind of things to bring positivity into the world, and what can I do to be part of that as well. So
yeah,
trying to figure out.
I agree. Yeah, that's kind of where my mindset goes. But I'm generally happy, so I'm very grateful for what goes on and stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it doesn't feel like my life doesn't feel like I'm going to sit down and change direction or decide that this is sort of more of a steering it on a course. But I'm very happy. It's already on in lots of ways, so it's nice.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, that's a good feeling to have too. I know that for me, it's more one of those. What was it that I was thinking? Just a little bit more focused on me, because I tend to focus on a lot of others, take care of others, make sure others are happy, make sure others have things what they need, and then all of a sudden I'm going, I can't even have time to read a freaking book. Because and so just trying to figure out what can I do for me, just to not lose my own self identity.
Right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Self-care is important.
It is.
Sure.
Yeah. So we're going to start entering now on the This or That with Shane East segment.
Absolutely.
Yeah. This is where listeners, followers, and fans submit their this or that questions via an online form for you, Shane, to answer. We greatly appreciate you taking the time to send in those questions. Please know that we've gotten a couple of questions where they're like more interview versus this or that. So just keep in mind that it's more about having Shane select one thing or another, and then having him pick that, and that's it, without justifying it.
Which just doesn't happen very often.
No, it doesn't. But I love that. That's why we do it. Yeah. So if you also have submitted a question and yours hasn't been asked yet, just don't get discouraged. We're still working through a lot of these questions that are being submitted. And also sometimes we may not be able to ask it. Just because we can't. We're not going to go there in some cases.
Love it. Don't get discouraged. You can always ask me on Twitter, probably, and I will or won't answer. Actually, no, don't ask me on Twitter, because I don't want. We'll keep it to the podcast. But yeah, bless. Anyway, sorry. I just thought that was cute. You're like, don't get discouraged. I was like, oh, interesting.
Well, because I want people to tune in to have our listen to what's going on with you and what's going on next and all this stuff, and also of course this segment. But so I know when I sometimes submit questions for things, I'm like, oh, it didn't get to me. Crap. So I look at the list and I kind of mix and match a little bit. And again, we've gotten some questions where it's more about like a more interviewish kind of thing. So I try to weave those in sometimes into our conversations, or if I can grab it and make it into a this or that, I've done that as well. So
right. If it doesn't make the cut, don't take it personally.
Yeah,
that it affect your self-esteem. Nothing whatsoever. Totally.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
Ready?
Yes.
Okay, so it was since it's Thanksgiving, pumpkin or apple pie?
Pumpkin. I don't like apples. Sounded so grumpy when I said that. That was great.
You're like, no.
That's the mode I'm going to be in for this and that. Like, it's
Yeah.
grumpy. Yeah. No.
Got it. Did not like apples. Chicken or steak?
Chicken. Because I try not to eat. Do you know I had a premonition that you were going to ask me something about meat? I don't know why.
Huh.
I know that's really bizarre. Yeah, because I try not to eat. Poor fucking chickens, but I try not to eat red meat. I feel really bad. I'd like to be vegetarian, but I just can't manage it.
Oh wow.
That sounds so weak.
It's a lot. I mean, even some of the
Yeah.
the condiments or some of the ingredients in soups for include some form of animal. So yeah, it's very hard to be a vegetarian.
Well, yeah, and I just can't. Like, I'm allergic to soy, as
Yes.
every loyal listener knows. My dietary requirements, so that cuts out a ton of products. Because I've looked for stuff. I was like, I'll just eat Impossible meat, and that's all soy based.
Oh.
I think there's another one that I might try called Beyond Beef or something like that.
Yes, that's another one.
That's not made of soy, so I could probably try one. So anyway, sorry, I digress. Chicken, because I feel bad eating meat in general, and for some reason I feel
You're okay
less
with
bad.
chickens?
No, but I just feel less bad eating
That's bad.
chickens.
Got it. Goodness. Okay, so here's one. It says paranormal romance or contemporary romance. Like, which do you prefer to narrate?
It's a tie, really. I think it kind of, I'd say, goes between the two. I like the mix that I have, so I'm going to say, well, what comes in the middle of this and that? There isn't.
There really isn't, but you've always rolled with it, so.
I mean, yeah, I think if I had to do one or the other predominantly, I would. I mean, I've done more contemporary, I would say, but
Yes.
I've definitely got more PNR over the last year or two, and I really quite like it. So a mix.
Cool. Okay. There are some like that there's been like a time traveling is technically considered paranormal because of the time travel, but
I
it
was
ends
just
up being a
thinking of that
contemporary.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah, The Misadventures of a Time Traveler, which is just out now, by the way.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I was like, I like that element to it. It was rather than if it was just he was, of the same time period, kind of really added an extra dimension, which I liked.
Yeah. A lot of people are raving about that book, The Misadventures with a Time Traveler by Angela Payne. And it's
Yes.
And it's you and Vanessa Edwin.
Yes,
Yeah.
who is fantastic, I think.
Yes.
She's great. I know her. She lives out here, and we see each other at studio for other stuff.
Projects. Cool.
Yeah. So I thoroughly enjoyed doing it, and I really recommend it.
Cool. And that means that I have to read it because I've gotten in trouble for not
You have
reading
to
the
listen.
books.
Lauren Blakely's been listening to it.
Yes, for sure.
Anyway, we digress from this. You can get onto that at the end.
Sorry. Blinds or curtains?
Curtains now.
Okay.
But I grew up with blinds, and blinds were my thing. And then a friend of mine just put up a bunch of curtains in the house, and it looks great. And I didn't think that would be the case, and so I've been converted to curtains, but more as a decorative thing than an actual functional.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yes, it does. Well, it's funny because I grew up with blinds as well, and then when I got my own place, I was able to have an option and choices, and I go now with curtains, and they have these really good blackout ones, so it's like pitch black at night in the bedroom, so that's always fun.
That's my favorite. I mean, my favorite is shutters, which is what that's like. They're not blinds though; they're like something in between. Well, they're not
Well, hold on. When you say shutters, I'm thinking external things.
No,
that
those wooden
cover.
things. Those wooden things. They're slats, and then there's like a little rod down the middle. They're wooden, and you
Mm-hmm.
kind of push it up or push it down, and they all, so they're kind of like wooden blinds, if you like,
Oh, okay.
but
And
they're
you have those
much
on the inside,
nicer.
right?
Yes,
Okay.
but they
So
look
people
much
can.
nicer. They don't. I never saw them in England. They seem to be very LA, I think. I'm not sure.
Huh.
They're nice.
Yeah, no, they look. They see that we have them a lot in the houses from an external side of things, and so they'll use that for, in our cases, sometimes hurricane. So the windows are
Ah,
protected. But I've seen them in movies where they have it on the inside of the house, and it's like you said, kind of the work of a
yeah,
blind curtain. So
they're a little bit more picket fencey kind of art,
yes,
and
yes,
those are that's what I have in my house. So that would be my
okay,
choice.
cool. All right, last one. Ready?
Mm.
Beauty or brain?
Oh, brain. Yeah, because you know, it's just. I mean, I don't know in what context someone is meaning that, whether
Mhm.
that's a sort of romantic context or just in general, but I would think I would take brain in general anyway, because
Mhm.
there's plenty of pretty people, um, but it's the humor and the spark and like the ability to talk about things and all of that that's really the best thing.
Mhm. Yeah, beauty fades.
It does. That's the other thing. And so people who rely on that, you kind of get to a certain age and then find it, I would say, a little tricky to navigate the world.
Yeah.
Um, Whereas the brain should just keep expanding.
Yeah. The ability to have conversations and just laugh is always a good thing.
Mm. And just being
Mhm.
like interested. I always like being around people I have certain friends, who are just very knowledgeable on all sorts of different things. And so you just have very interesting discussions. Like I had dinner with a friend last night, and she was telling me about how she's had to learn to just how being a woman and trying to tell men how to criticize men in a way, like, I don't like this, or could you, she was talking about being on set. She's an actress and producer, and
Mhm.
asking someone to move something as a woman, she said, to a man, she said it would be so much harder. She said her husband, who was, works in the business as well, would just be like, "Oh, hey, man, can you move that?" And whoever the guy would be like, "Yeah, sure." She said she would do it, and the guy would she'd get like resistance
Yeah.
because she's a woman. And so found I would never have thought of that. So I just find conversations like that, or people, being around people who kind of have different perspectives and give me this insight into things. I find it fascinating. So sorry, a tangent from the brain question, but that was the thing. I'll save that for another day, that whole topic.
Yeah.
Well, lots of women are like, yeah, I can relate to that. But as a man, I was like, that wouldn't occur to me. Like, I just had no idea.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that I find, again, as a woman, that when we say something or ask for something versus when you would do it as a guy, the
Mm,
reaction is different. But then at the same time, there's some things that we can get away with because we're girls that
mm.
you might not be able to get away with because you guys. So, you know,
Yeah, I guess
hmm
it can cut both ways, but I
yeah.
mean, we all know that it's a patriarchal society, so
Yes, for sure. For sure. Oh, absolutely.
skewed for blokes far
Yeah.
more.
That's all. Oh, well, there
God,
you
that
have
got
it.
deep out of nowhere, didn't it? Out of this and that, like brain or
Well,
beauty,
you
and then
said you like the brain part for the conversation.
yeah, I did exactly. I know.
Yeah.
I like that. Well, I like using some of these podcasts to sort of talk about sort of more varied things. I did it like when I did Kim Lorraine's, and I think people were listening to that the other week.
Oh,
Again,
yeah, yeah.
we
That's an
went
awesome
off
one.
on all sorts of tangents about
Hmm.
male female romances, and how she prefers a male romance over anything, which I was just like blown away by. I was like, oh, I didn't even have a clue. Through to the Swedish hermaphrodite troll movie.
Yeah, I know. I was listening to that. I'm going, what the fuck? And so I'm Googling and I'm going, holy shit. Wow. Okay. Yeah, that was a great podcast. Um, and I'm actually listening to my first Kim Lorraine book, which is Wicked Temptation that you did,
Oh
that you
yeah,
guys were talking about. So,
yeah. I hope
mhm.
you enjoy it. Well, because you listened to um, who was it? The Fae's Captive. You listened to Lily
Yes,
Archer
Lily
stuff
Archer. Yes.
because you've
Yeah.
been resistant for a while on that one. I know, because you said they were short, which I understand. You kind of
Yes.
wanted something a bit more lengthy.
Yeah.
You did then, listeners. She did then message me to ask me when the final book was coming out because she couldn't wait for it and it wasn't out yet, and she'd listened to
Yes.
7
And
or
listeners, he loved getting back to me on that one, as far as the
8.
gift. Like, yep, Shane's right.
I mean, you can read what you want into that text message. It was very basic. It was very, let me find out for you. I emailed Lily and she told me that it's like supposed to be out right now and she's just waiting for it.
Still not out.
Is it still not? She has
No, it's
been waiting
not.
for Audible or AC or whoever. I think it goes through ACX to.
Yeah.
There's sometimes some weird holdups with, I don't know whether it's the processing of the audio or like they have a quality check that they have to. I've never had an issue when I've produced stuff, but I know other people sometimes get a bit stuck in a little mire for a hot minute. So anyway, it's on its way very, very soon. So
yeah. So yeah, you were right. I have no problems admitting that when
I told you they were
right.
good.
You did. I did have the issue because they're shorter.
Yes,
It's almost like a full book that was chopped into different parts. And Lily definitely has a gift for cutting it at the very point where you're going, no, because you want to know what's going on next. So some people were having issues with the cliffhangers. So I got some extra codes and I'm like, download. And I listened to them. And you were right. They're really good.
They are really good.
Mackenzie Cartwright, she's awesome too.
Yeah, I was going to say, she's great. And great to work with. Actually, all the girls I work with are really good to work with. To say, shout out to everyone. They're always so together and on it, and checking in, and I'm lucky. I feel. But those are good. So I'm glad you have discovered them.
Yes, thank you for that.
But the 8th one's the final one. I think it's done.
Yeah, I think I read. Because again, this is a perfect example of how I've never read anything by Lily Archer before. It was recommended, and I listened, and now I'm trying to figure out when the next book comes out and all that fun stuff. But I think she was talking about doing like a spin-off series from that world, and so she has another book that just came out recently that's a spin-off from one of the different parts of I don't want to say country because that world is not like that, but different part of the world. So she's doing some spin-offs. So hopefully she does an audio.
We just also did some Omega verse thing for her, so which is that universe of characters, right? That kind of and people write around that universe. So it was my first introduction. So I played I was in that with Jason Clark and I think Mackenzie Cartwright and someone else. So anyway, there's some other stuff.
So I'm gonna take a moment and rave about you for a minute, because so I've always known, and I've always known you're good. Like you are one of the really good, awesome narrators that are out there in the romance genre. I've always known that you can act. You can play the cocky asshole and the sweet guy, and you have also a good range when it comes down to differentiating the characters. So I knew that. Yeah, so I knew that. You completely fucking blew my mind in this Fae Captive series because there's so many characters. And when you're narrating, you have to do everything from the hero to the best friend to the wicked witch and all the other characters and the fucking unicorns. Oh my God. But there were moments where I'm going, damn, his range is like epic.
Well, thank you. That's nice to hear. I guess I will say that's the world I came from originally. Like I came from a more of a, in terms of audiobooks, books that had fantastical characters and had all of these different things and places and ages and stuff. So maybe that's why I like those books as well, because it kind of helps to marry the two, which I do love. And I've done a lot of YA. I love all of that stuff and getting to throw my voice around and be very, very different characters all within the same book and chapters. So And I will say, Mackenzie, especially in the latter books, she would record before me, so a lot of those characters she was setting the tone. So the range is also up to her, because I had to. Because she'd already done them. I was like, okay, so we're going to be here. This guy's this, and that guy's that, and okay, and this is the unicorns like that. Okay, cool, great. Like, this is so. Yeah, she made both of us stretch ourselves, if you like.
Mm-hmm. Now, she was fantastic. But again, it's, when you find out that, again, knew already that you were awesome and fantastic at what you do, and then I'm going, holy fuck, okay, yeah, he's off. Like, wow. A lot of us listen to the contemporary, so we have the hero, the heroine, one or two other characters, and then maybe a kid, depending on the story.
Yeah.
So not a whole lot of huge range or variety of personalities and things like that. Something like this, where you get a fae, humans, different types of underlings, and then a unicorn, which is not. If you guys like unicorns and have this perfect image of what a unicorn would be, don't listen to this. The image would be completely ruined for you. I like the unicorns even better now, just because they're sarcastic suckers.
He's a dirty bastard, that one.
Yes, they are, and I love that. So it was fun to listen to something also be played off differently, because again, like, usually it'd be majestic and proper and prim and something to be admired and delicate, and here they are, horny little bastards. So I'm like, awesome.
No, it's good, and like I say, I really enjoy getting to do like all of that stuff a lot. I think that's one of my favorite things to do, is to be able to have these sort of eccentric characters that still you can listen and believe, but they don't sound like just cartoon caricatures. And you can only kind of do that in that sort of world of whatever, Lord of the Rings, or
the paranormal side, more thing,
magical and everything and stuff. And it's loving some of those descriptions of not just in the Facebook, but other books are very, they describe a little dwarf who's this and that, like, and there's all this sort of characteristics to how they visually are described in the book that gives you all this license to kind of go to town. And then I get to use all my funny accents, especially ones from back home. So it's great. I love it. So thank you. I'm glad that you appreciate that. That's nice to hear.
Yeah, because there was many times where I was about to text you and I'm going, nah, I'm not going to abuse my privileges.
Well, I'm glad you saved it for now. It's very nice to hear it now. I'm pleased. And in the Misadventures book, I'm French. So there you go. So there's something else to check out.
Yeah, definitely. I already added it to my cart. I learned my lessons. I'm a pretty good learner. Shane says something, I listen.
I mean, I have to say I like most of what I do. I like pretty much everything I do. I get to really work with, I will say I get offered really nice stuff. So, but yeah, a few things stand out sometimes like that.
But that's also the cool thing, I think, that when I speak with authors and they're contemplating about doing audiobooks, I always say that the narrator is part of the marketing strategy, because again, I may not have picked up on it, but you kind of build these relationships sometimes, even if it's just through social media, with the narrators. And when they're really talking about a book, or they are saying this was really hot, or this is really good, and all this has been creative and blah, 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 the listeners listen and they're like, oh, I'll put that and add it to my list and maybe bump it up. So that's something too, that there's so many books out there that sometimes you look at the list and you're going, I don't know what to pick next. And then you see that recommendation come through and you're going, oh, that's what it is.
Yeah.
And you kind of shift your shelf a little bit.
Well, yeah, I guess, if I was on the other end, I guess that would be the same for me. I would start to follow either the particular authors, or particular narrators.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that's very true.
Speaking of the books and stuff, well, what can you share about, like, what are you currently working on, if you can share anything?
What I'm currently working on, and I have to always look at my iPad. So I just did, I think I may have mentioned that Pervade Montego Bay is coming out. There's some more Diana Knightley stuff that I've been doing, the Scottish one that I did, which people seem to really be responding to. I've done a bunch of other stuff that's not romance of late, so I've kind of, which is probably good because I feel that I've maybe inundated people. I've had people on Twitter saying there's just so much stuff. I can't listen to all this, or like, I can't keep buying all these things. So there's been who else? Oh, I did Wicked Omens. That was actually a male romance, so that was interesting. But again, that's a whole. Listen to the Kim Lorraine podcast.
Yeah.
My thoughts on all of that stuff. Well, and I also did that little Christmas story with Lily Valente. Is it Valente? Valente? I guess it's Valente.
I think it's Valente. Yeah.
Valente. Yeah, because Lauren recommended, to her to get me to do it. So, so that should be out soon, I think, as well. So there's lots of bits and pieces popping around. Then I've got a bunch coming up that I'm recording. Actually, December is very heavy on the old romance front. I've got a Kay Bromberg book coming, doing another May Sage book with Lucy Rivers, and then some other stuff. Lauren Blakely I'm working with in January. So I'm being very vague. I'm not giving you names and stuff because
no, you're fine.
I don't know some of these names. But just to know that there is stuff coming out. But I feel like a bunch of stuff just came out.
They did. So
people are a bit inundated. So
yeah. So I know that in The Unlikely Event by LJ Shen,
I think, yeah.
Yes. And that was like a multicast because it includes Joe Arden, Matthew Newtown,
that old hack.
That
God, how he has a career, I'll never know. No,
you guys are fucking hilarious.
We have a love-hate relationship on Twitter. It's wonderful.
Yes, but you guys are so creative. It's like it's so if you guys don't follow Shane and or Joe Arden on Twitter, follow them both. They're both great narrators. But the dynamic that they have is hilarious. They'll start with the little backs and forth, and then they start with the gifts. It's bloody hilarious. So definitely, I was waiting to see if his name would come up and how you would react.
I mean, I got a shudder in the worst way possible when you said his name.
Kendall Ryan has Bossy Brit.
Yeah, we did that so long ago. That's the thing. We did that ages ago.
Yeah, and that's with Aaron Mallon.
Yes, I saw that. People were liking that.
Yes, and so from and then the Misadventures with Time Traveler that came out on the 26th, so just literally yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have coming up the next book, according to Audible right now. The only other book that's coming out as of next is The Immortal Flames, the Excalibur Duet Part 2, and that's from Kim Lorraine.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to listen to part 1 first.
Yeah, you do. I'm doing that now. So then I'm gonna have to wait.
Well, and then you went, oh yeah, you kind of binge. Are you doing the Netflix thing? I've noticed people do that on Audible. I never really even thought about that, but people they want to wait, or they want the 3 books in the series to be out at once so that they can just
specifically if it has cliffhangers, or there's one of those where the full story isn't completely done, like Lily Archer's, because of the length, and she again has a knack for freaking cutting it where you don't want it to be cut because there's something gonna happen. You're like, well, how's this gonna end? And poof, the end credits start to roll. That one was where I was like, okay, well, these are all out, and so I waited until like number 7 was and then I got them, and then I started listening to them. They're good stories, so from that perspective, I will binge. I just have to wait for the freaking 8 one to come out.
Well, I think it's our culture now. It's sort of, I mean, I remember growing up when it was, you waited until next Sunday for the next episode.
Oh God, yeah.
And now, or you got a video box set for Christmas of something, and then you managed to watch like 2 seasons in one go. But like, other than that, no, you didn't have that option. And nowadays I think we're spoilt rotten that we just don't want to wait for everything each week. Like I'm having to do that at the minute. I'm watching Mrs. Fletcher on HBO, if anyone hasn't watched it, with Catherine Hahn. It's fucking great. Like, it's just really good. She's sort of a divorced mum, and her kid's gone to college, and she's sort of rediscovering herself, and she gets into watching porn. Yeah, So it relates to romance. So
Somehow,
I just
yeah.
thought I'd fit. But I think a lot of I recommended it to Louise Bay the other. I was chatting with her on WhatsApp, and I was like, "You've got to watch it." I was like, "It's funny. Like, there's all these, it'd probably be good fodder as a romance writer. Like, there's just issues in it that would be interesting, and it's approached in a really like funny way and also heartfelt way and all sorts." So, and I just love Catherine Hahn. She's just fucking genius for me as an actor. Anyway, sorry. This is going on forever. People will have switched up. You're gonna have to edit half of this out.
Yeah, we'll do some editing. Yeah, no worries there. But I think honestly,
Waffle.
people love listening to what you're watching and kind of go, "Oh yeah," because it brings you. Remember, you guys are our rock stars. Okay, remember about this.
Okay.
You guys are our rock stars. So when you're busting out with a favorite show or a favorite artist or movie or whatever, it kind of pulls you like, "Hey, I like the same one too. That's pretty cool. We have the same taste." So it's good.
Well, I will give you to wrap up then. If you really want to know, my
Mm-hmm.
TV viewing at the minute is Mrs. Fletcher on HBO. It's Dark Materials, Dark Materials on HBO. Very different. It's also very good. And Vikings, which I never watched. I missed it, and now it's like there's so many seasons on Prime, and I
Yes.
started watching it the other Sunday because I had a lazy Sunday, and now I'm into that. So they're all very different programs.
You're going across the spectrum there.
And, keeping that brain going.
Yeah.
In different ways.
Vikings is really good. You're gonna love it. Because there's a lot of variety within that as far as characters goes. But there's a change later on that I was like, so it kind of stopped me from watching it. I need to get
Oh,
back
which
to it.
season is that?
I think it's like 4, so you still have some to go.
Okay. I sometimes find they go off the boil for me around season 4. I've had several series that I've loved, and then around season 4, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, it's gone stretching it a bit now, and then I've learned to just go, okay, that was nice, and then not stick with a dying cause.
I don't like it when they extend it for no particular reason. I would much rather them cut it and end it there and maybe do what like a spin-off equivalent would be, if anything, versus trying to milk the cow till his dying breath, because it's not a whole lot of good product there.
Yeah, there's just dust left in the udder.
Yes.
For an analogy, if you really want some imagery.
Yeah. Let's see. So we've caught up. We've done this and that. You've shared with us what's coming up next and stuff.
Sort of, in a very vague manner. Terrible PR person.
No. But again, we understand that you're under cannot share, should not share, but as soon as you can, you do. So that's still, you're a very good PR person from that perspective.
Yes, when I know it's out, I will tell you.
Yeah. So your next Shane East, do you kind of have an idea of who you want to interview?
Yeah. Well, I said to Ava when I saw her, Ava Harrison, I was like, I would be in touch with her to have a chat. So I actually have to double check that she is available. But she said yes, she would love to. So so she is she's whom I'm hoping to have a chat with in the next few weeks before I leave for Christmas back home.
Cool.
We can discuss our Sovas experience and other things.
That's great. I'm going to look forward to that one. I look forward to all the ones. The one that you did before was also great with Louise Bain. So
yeah, I like that, and I'd like to talk to Lauren if I can get some time with that. She doesn't know that. I haven't told her yet. So if she's listening, I will be asking you for a chat at some point. And some narrators as well. I think might be interesting for people.
It came. Are you going to ask Joe?
Oh, who? I don't know what you're talking about. So some random chap with 2 titles. No. Yeah, maybe. Who knows?
That would be a fun, interesting one just for shits,
It could be fun. But yeah, there's plenty of people I think would be interesting. Lucy Rivers would be a good, interesting chat, I think. But yeah, so that's possible. But yeah, Ava Harrison, I'm gonna try and track her down and chat to her.
Oh, yeah, and Lauren's great. She'll definitely make sure that she has time for you. So
well, she's very interesting. She's very business oriented. We had a very interesting conversation about that, which I think might be interesting for people to know about, because some of it I didn't have a clue about how the business works and stuff. But who knows? So I'll be figuring all of that out.
Cool. Well, I'll be letting people know once I know.
Mm-hmm.
So
It's on its way.
yeah, exactly. So as always, love chatting and catching up with you. So thank you for taking the time.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was a pleasure.
And we hope you've enjoyed this episode of the Audiobook Lovin Podcast. Make sure to follow us on our social media platforms, subscribe to the Viviana Enchantress of Books newsletter. Don't forget to submit your questions of this and that so Shane can answer them the next time we connect. And happy listening. Thank you for joining us on the Audiobook Lovin Podcast, hosted by Viviana Enchantress of Books. For links and more info about today's episode or the Audiobook Lovin series, visit vivianaenchantressofbooks.com. Please consider leaving a review wherever you listen to the podcast if you've enjoyed today's episode. Until next time, happy listening.